Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Good people see hostility rising daily.
Shalom. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge in Atlanta, Georgia. The subject I'm going to break down today is we're going to go into adultery to prove what adultery is and prove how evil and wicked it is according to the scriptures and how it's destroying our community. We see it every day in the so-called black community, Native American, Hispanic community. You understand? Like a lot of the violence that you see go on happens because, one, we breaking all the laws, but adultery is just one of those ones that we see a lot, that's pushed a lot, that we see on TV and hear on the radio. You understand? Remember that we have classes being held at the Central Branch Library in downtown Atlanta. Any questions you have on classes, class schedules, you could call 404-997-9123. Next class will be January 18th at 3 p.m. Okay, so any questions, make sure you call that number. All right. The first scripture we're going to go to, we're going to prove what what adultery is. A lot of times we don't understand it. A lot of times we think adultery is just if you're in a relationship, you go out and be with someone else. You know what I'm saying? That's halfway true, but it's not all the way true. So we're just going to break it down according to the scriptures. Okay? Leviticus 20, chapter 20, verse 10. It says, "And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death." Okay, so let's break it down line for line. It says, "And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife." Okay, that's how a man commits adultery. A man does not commit adultery by having a wife and going to get another one. Now he just has two wives. That's not adultery. It's adultery when a man, lays with another man's wife. So if he goes out and meets a woman and she has a man, whether she tells him or not, that's why you need to do a lot of research. If you lay with that woman, she has a man, that's adultery. And as we read, the adulterer and the adulteress will be put to death. This will be a death penalty offense. This is a major offense in Israel, you understand? And it's a horrible crime to do to a brother. It's very unbrotherly, you understand? We're going to get that more into the scriptures, okay? And adultery also, if a woman has a husband, if she has sex with any other man other than her husband, that is adultery. Okay, so a woman commits adultery anytime she deals outside of her man, and a man commits adultery if he goes out and takes another man's wife. You understand? And we're going to get into more of the scriptures and proving how we see this every day in the black community. Like, it's pushed on the radio. All you hear on the radio is, "I did this to your woman on the low, we're sneaking around, she's doing this, I'm doing this, you didn't even know it." Like it's so wicked and evil, you understand? And that's what's going on every day. Like the dating, the so-called dating scene or whatever out there in the world is like a big swap meet. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody dealing with each other, throwing each other away, sneaking around, doing. That's why we got so much diseases. That's why we got AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, whatever, chlamydia, all the types of sexually transmitted diseases. We have those things because we wicked and we're not following the laws, and we want to sneak around and do, unlawful sex, which is fornication, and we're just getting into adultery specifically. Okay, Proverbs chapter 6, verse 32. It says, But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. So the man that goes out and lays with another man's wife, and a lot of the brothers is proud that they do this, that if they go out and lay with another man's wife, they lack understanding. Like they simple. I mean, they stupid as hell because that's so unbrotherly. One, because you're just trying to assert your authority over another brother and show how much power, like, you think you're more powerful, you're really weaker, you understand? You're really, like, this small, you know what I'm saying? So, he lack of understanding, and he destroyed his own soul, because one, you laying with a whore anyway. So for the woman that's gonna to deal outside of her man and lay with another man, she's a whore any goddamn way. So you think you laying with her about to get some prince of Israel, she's gonna be a whore, she's gonna be doing the same thing she did with you. And you're gonna destroy your soul, you're gonna be in hell. You understand? Like, that's all through the scriptures, you know what I mean? Falling from a whore's woman, a woman playing the whore, you know what I mean? That destroys a man's soul. You understand? And also, like the brotherhood side of it, it's like you coveting another man's possession. When it says in scripture, when a man get up a wife, he get a possession. I'm paraphrasing. So you go out, it's like you stealing a man's possession. You know what I mean? So that's horrible. Like, you can't do it. Like you're saying, and the scripture says you don't covet. You know what I mean? To lust after. And if you lusting after another man's wife, eventually you will lay with her. Eventually, that'll lead to your destruction. You understand? So let's go to let's also go to, I'm going to go to Romans chapter 7. This is going to just show how a woman commit adultery anytime she deal outside her man. You understand? So a man can have multiple women, but a woman is bound to her husband till the day she dies or the day he dies. You understand? And it says, Romans chapter 7 verse 2. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. So, sisters, if you have a man, whether you come into the truth or not, now we've gone over this before, you're bound to that man. You cannot come into the truth and think that you can leave that man. You understand? Like, you bound to him. You can bring him in the truth by not teaching him, but just changing yourself and treating him how you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So you don't leave him. And the only way a woman is not bound by the law of her husband is if he were to pass away, he were to die. You understand? Then she wouldn't be under the law. Then she can go remarry if she wanted to. You understand? Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. This is Yahanna speaking, or Jesus as we know in the world. Okay? This is written in red. This is coming out of Christ's own mouth. Matthew chapter 5, verse 26. Verse 27. It says, ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, so in old time, like we read in Leviticus, which would be the Old Testament, in the old time about the previous prophets, you should not commit adultery. You understand? That's what it was said. Verse 28, but I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. So, like we said so many times, Christ did not destroy the law like the Christian church likes to say. And the Christian church is full of adultery and whoredoms. You understand? We all know it. Child molestation, it's all over the media. You can just look on the internet and see how much adultery, how much fornication, and everything that's going on in that filthy church. But Christ added on to the law. Like, he made it more. Now, I mean, before the law was, you cannot go have sex with another man's wife, just like that. But now it's saying, Christ is saying, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery already in his heart. Not meaning, because we're not the Roman Christians, the Roman Catholic Church. Like, you can look at a woman and be attracted to a woman, but if you know a woman has a man, you should not be on your job, on your slavery, trying to look at her behind all day, or trying to lust in your mind or see what you should do. Like, you got to be real careful, you understand? Because you don't know which woman has a man, and it's easy to find out. You just have to ask them. The first thing that should come out your mouth is, when you talk to a woman, is, do you have a man? You understand? And that's brotherhood. That's why I say, yes, I do. Okay, Shalak, I apologize. No sweat. Or if she don't, then you can go ahead and pursue her. And still be careful, because you don't know what she's doing. Like, she don't know what having a man means. She could be having sex with every man around the way, but not consider that a man. So you just want to be careful, understand, and avoid these whorish women and sisters too. Like, be with your husbands, don't be playing around. You know what I mean? Okay. And that's really it. That's just another part of the law that we bring out. Any questions you have, call 404-997-9123. I remember class on January 18th, 3 p.m. at the Central Branch Library. Remember to pay your tithes too to the I.S.U.P.K. 10% of any increase the Most High give you. Okay, it's a law just like not committing adultery. You understand? So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. I see that they run gone left mommy. Fi struggle the hard road with 5 beginning. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen.